Welcome back to Ben's Garage. We're outside. You'll notice that I'm wrapped up warm. It is not very warm out here today. We're back on the spanners. It's not the Range Rover. I looked at the part 1 of the Range Rover and I released that on the 27th of March. It's now the 12th of May. We're going to try and get on with that, but we have been super busy in the garden. We've got all these vegetable beds dug out. We've started with the greenhouse. We haven't finished the greenhouse because of the weather. The wind does whip up here a little bit, and we need to get the polycarbonate panels in, but we're just a little bit worried that once we get them in, we need to get the roof on quick to shore it all up, sort of thing. So that's sort of what's putting a bit of a delay on getting on with the car, because the car's not important, but obviously it is for content, but we do what we can do. So today we're back on the flail mower. We've got ourselves a nice little engine here. I don't know if you saw in community posts that I posted, the Lifan engines turned up. I've got it sat on this chair here. What we're going to do is, I'll just show you down here. We're going to fill it up with oil. I've got the ignition switch to bolt on the side because that came separately, bolts on that side there somewhere. We're going to wire it all up, get oil in it, and we're going to see if we can start it up while it's on this chair, because basically I want to let it run for about an hour, drain the oil out and change the oil, because when you change the oil, they're quite awkward. It's not too bad on this one actually, but the way you drain it out is right on the bottom of the crankcase, and it can sometimes make a bit of a mess, but there is actually a bit where we could get a tray when it's on the actual flail mower. I'll show you that when we get to it, but for now we're just going to get this uncovered, get bits and pieces bolted on it. It's electric start. It comes with the electric start all packaged up in the bag. I suppose it's so it doesn't get broken off in transit. It's all colour coded. I think it should be pretty straightforward to bolt on. Comes with a couple of keys and some bolts in there, so we'll set to and see what we can come up with. I'm not quite sure what's happened to this weather. Anyway, we'll get this uncovered. I think Tim said she's tucked it in underneath so that it doesn't blow away. Now this is obviously another Honda copy. It is advertised as being a lot better than that one, but what we need to do is on this side, it's still quite heavy. They're 37 kilos, these engines. And there is a keyway there, which I want to see if I can get that out. I'll have a look at that in a minute. But we've got some wires here. Here we go, look. So we've got a brown, a black, and a black. And a bit of heat shrink. I don't know what the heat shrink's for. So we'll take this out of the bag. So what I've done, I've tried, there's a long bolt comes with it with a spacer that goes behind it just to hold it away. That one goes back in, and it's only held on with the two. And then there's a nut and bolt, so what I might do is fit that strap on at the bottom with the nut and bolt, but for now I need the all important thread lock, Loctite. Which one's the stiffest? medium strength, high strength. I'm going to go for the high strength one, because we don't want it bloody coming loose. Because on that last engine, that's all we had trouble with, stuff coming loose. Right, so I've got to take this out again now. I'll get plenty of thread lock on there. As I say, I don't want this coming loose, because that's the biggest problem we had with that last engine. Stuff coming loose. A little bit awkward getting these in, actually. I don't want to over tighten them, so I'm just going to obviously get to a point and then just give it a little squeeze, and that'll do. That's solid now, so that's that. Move that out the way. Now we've got some wiring out, brown to brown. If you can see this past my leg. Brown to brown, push it, make sure it goes home. Black to black, we've got a black there and a black there, but they've got different ends on. We've got a female end and there's a black male end there. That can go in there. We've got a black one here, can go into there, like so. That leaves us, I think that one goes to earth, so what I shall probably do is just run that and tap it into there, but I don't know what that one is. I'm going to have to check the instructions, aren't I? The manual was absolutely no good, so I've just pulled that apart and had a quick look. This little one on that engine runs over to where the battery is, and there's like a emergency cutout that there's a key that goes in it, and it was on a rope, which, so if you were towing it with an ATV or something and you needed to switch the engine off quick, you just yank the rope and it would oik it out. I'm not going to bother with this one, so I'm just going to put that to earth. That's going to go to the battery positive, and then we'll have another wire from the starter positive down to the battery, which I think that's how it goes. So I've got to put this one back in here now. So that can be the earth. I think this one goes onto the thing there, because that definitely gets there, and that then when the lead from the battery up to there will when that goes on, it can all get its power and be hunky-dory. I'll just tighten that up, because what I'm going to do to start it, I've got the booster pack out here. When we're in a position to start it, I'll just clip it onto the back there, clip it onto an earth, and away we go. Squash that up. At the end of the day, this all sticks out the back of the flail mower, so it's not going to cause any issues, I don't think. So now it's time to get some oil in it. Now it's got a bung at the front and at the back, but I think the one at the back is the one that's got the dipstick in it. So we'll just take that out. Yeah, there you go. I don't think there's any oil in it. There shouldn't be. Now I've got to check in the manual again. So I've consulted the Oracle. It's the same with most of these engines. You unwind that all the way out and you put it back in the hole, but you don't screw it in. And that's how you check the engine oil. It's bone dry. So what I'm going to do is turn it a little bit. Now I can see me making a monumental mess here. So I'll just get my leg out of the way. I've got a little funnel here that came with the generator. It's absolutely full of junk. So let's clean that out first. Cleanliness is next to godliness, this type of thing. I'm not religious, but it's just a saying. So that will go in there. Quite a long way actually. I wonder if I can hold that and pour oil in at the same time. Here we've just got some semi-synthetic motor oil, 1040. It does ask for 1030, but I can't see it being much of a problem. Oh, there's always a sod to open up, aren't they? So I'm going to try and do this now by holding the funnel, getting out of the way in case I spill some, and pouring it in gently. We could be here sometime. With this funnel, this is a very slow process. But I think we're getting there. Make sure all the oils come out of that. Let's put that over here out of the way. Alright, now because the engine is on a seat which isn't quite level, I'm just going to sort of straighten the engine up a little bit, put the dipstick in, don't screw the threads in, and then we go. We've got oil. I'm not going to put it right up to the maximum mark because I want to change the oil in it after we've run it up for a while. But what I do want to check is now, I measured it, but in the back of my mind I didn't know if I'd measured it right. Now I used the vernier calipers and it said bang on 1 inch, because they do this engine with a 1 inch shaft and a 25mm shaft, the imperial metric. Now 1 inch converted to millimeters is 25.4mm. The metric engine is bang on 25. Now this engine on the flail mower is a bit of an unknown Chinese hash up rubbish basically. Hopefully this one's going to be better. But here's the clutch, the centrifugal clutch. The keyway is already in there, so now look at that, straight on, no play in that at all. Obviously that spins around and that stays where it is. Absolutely perfect. So I've not got to do anything to the clutch to get that to fit on. Right, so now we need to get some fuel in this without spilling any, hopefully. Whoa, it's a slow filler. Whoa, shit. Don't do this at home, kids. I'll just wipe off that excess petrol. Let that evaporate off before we get it started up. So I'm just going to pop the positive on the back of the start solenoid, like so, and pop the earth on the bottom of the crankcase, like so. Now, I need a key. What have I done with the keys? Here we go. Right, just a bog standard key. Right, that's on. So what I'll do is, if I can spin this round a little bit so you can see what's going on around here. So if you can see this, so we've got the petrol on the bottom, so we'll switch the petrol on. Choke at the top. Throttle's off. If I press and hold that, that's clicked, gone to green, so hopefully that is it is running. It vibrates a little bit, but that's to be expected. We'll just turn it around. See the crankcase is spinning there. We'll keep our fingers away from that. But so far it sounds really nice. I'm just going to let it warm up a little bit before I rev it up. See, the fuel tank is suspended on rubbers. The exhaust pipe is properly fixed on with, so they say, proper thread lock. All the bolts are thread locked in. Things shouldn't come loose. That's the theory. I'm chuffed to bits for that. It sounds perfect. That one sounded alright, but you can tell when it's a quality engine, or more quality components are fitted to the engine, which made with a bit more care. It just sounds tighter than that one ever did. I know we have abused that one a little bit with the long grass that was here when we first came here, but at the end of the day it's a flail mower, what they designed for. So we're still letting this one warm up, and I'll come back to you when it's done and we'll rev it up and see what it sounds like. Well, I might have to hold on to it because it might jump off the chair. Hopefully not, but anyway, I'll see you in a minute. We'll sort that to temperature. We're going to take the revs up and see what it does. I'm going to have to hold on to it because I think it's going to move about on the chair a little bit. Let it cool down a little bit. You always want to let your engine run, especially something like this that's air cooled. You don't want to just switch it off when it's been running flat out. So just let it tick over for a minute or so, and then I'll see if this switches it off. Hopefully it will. Look at that. Perfect. Obviously it won't start again now because I've taken the booster pack off, but we're going to try reconditioning that battery, see if that works. If not, I'll order a new battery for it because we want it to start on the key, so we ain't got to mess about with the booster pack. But there we have it, the Lifan LF390QE Pro, which is the heavy duty version. Starts and runs fine. Switch the fuel off whenever you're not using. Now on these engines, I had the Honda version on our chipper. Let me bring you back up here. on our old chipper we had the Honda version, and if you towed it up the road with the fuel on, the fuel used to leak through, and the petrol would get in with the oil, and then it would hydraulic the engine, so you couldn't turn it over. The way I got around that was obviously drain the oil out, put fresh oil in. Every time I moved the chipper with the, you know, towing it about, always switch the petrol off. Never had that problem since then. So obviously the chipper's long gone now, but this is the same basic engine. That was a genuine Honda one on the chipper, but this is perfect. Started up first, didn't even turn over once hardly, and it fired up. So the weather is now going to stop play, which is a bit annoying, but this video is probably going to be long enough as it is. We're going to come back out, get the engine swapped over. I might look at putting some rubber mountings, not sprung mountings because I don't want it vibrating about, but if I put a bit of rubber between the flail mower and the engine, tighten it down on that, it might take out a little bit of the thing. I think a lot of the vibration is the actual flails. You got the bar that goes through with the flails bolted to it. That's probably out of balance because it's a cheap flail mower, as you all know. But we've upgraded the engine. Now this engine, I found it on eBay from a company called West Bank Wholesale in Yorkshire, I believe it is. I actually found their website and went direct through their website because basically it benefits the company because you ain't got all the eBay fees. Bit naughty, but there you go. £25 to post to France from the UK, which I thought was fantastic really. 37 kilos of engine, come in a big bloody great box, and it was heavy. £25 postage. So in total that engine's cost us just €350. A lot of people say, oh, you buy a decent mower for your tractor. We can't get a flail mower for the tractor. The tractor's only 16 horsepower, new. So we don't know what horsepower it is now, but the PTO horsepower would be about 12 or 13. You can't get a flail mower. You probably can, but and a lot of the more modern tractors would probably be able to power it. This one I don't think will. Replacing the entire flail mower, to get something like this that's good quality, you're talking £4,500–5,000. We're not gonna. We've already spent a lot of money on this as it is. So the cheapest thing for us to do was replace the engine with a quality item, which fingers crossed this one is. I'll get it all welded up. I'm going to weld the drawbar up so we can tow it to the tractor, and we've not got to get the Range Rover in here to do that. We'll just get it welded up as strong as we possibly can, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be alright. It's just starting to rain now, cloudy over there. I think we're in for stormy weather. So hope you like this video. It's not Range Rover video, but we are getting to it slowly but surely. With the garage, we're at a point now where we can order materials, but since lockdown we've not been able to, so we need some chalk for the greenhouse base as well, for in the floor. We're going to chalk the floor, get it whacked down with a whacker plate. That'll be another video for you. We'll get the whacker plate out and up and running. But we can now order some. We can go and order some parts to get this garage sorted out. It's like with the Range Rover, if I could just nose it into the garage and have all my tools there, it'd be so nice. But for now, I don't know if you can see the Range Rover. It's behind me. There it is. It sits there. Don't worry, it's not in the long grass. It's on a concrete hard standing. I'm recording. So we are going to get on with that, but what with being locked down and everything and trying to get this greenhouse sorted, one thing and another, it's been a nightmare. Anyway, there's a bit of a spanner in video for you. This engine is perfect. It's going to go on there. Everything fits. It's all up and running. I will change the oil when I get it on there, because I can get to the oil drain quite easily on this. When they're on a lawnmower or something like that, even on the old chipper, to drain the oil out, you couldn't get anything underneath the drain to drain it out, and it just used to run down the side, and you'd have to catch it and then clean it all up afterwards. But on this one I can actually get to that, so we'll do that when we get it on there. I'm going to run it up a bit more first, and then we'll do that. So yeah, hope you liked this video. Please click the thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. And from me and the Hobbit, who's over there moving bits of wood that's just been delivered for the ramp, it's bye for now.